Hey, what's up guys? As promised, I'm here with the tutorial on in-game server commands. If you watched the server scripting tutorial, you know I said I would do this to explain some stuff. And yeah, here it is. So to start off, I'm seriously just gonna go down the list of commands in the readme file and explain each one best I can. So let's get started. So to begin, the first set of commands you can use in any server, no matter what. You don't have to be Marshal or Admin. Everyone can use these commands. So the first one is called server, ignore. So when you're doing a command in server, the first thing you need to write is server, and that's what tells the server that you're about to issue it a command from the text line. The next thing you write is the command. So in this case it's ignore, and what ignore does is it ignores chat messages. It sets your ignore settings to ignore certain groups while you're racing. Yeah, keep in mind this ignore command only works when you're racing. If you're in warm-up mode or spectate mode, it does not work. So the first way to do this is you can do none, which means you're not going to ignore anybody. You can do specs, and this will ignore the people in warm-up mode or the spectators. And then you can do all, which will ignore everybody, including fellow racers. So that's the ignore command. The command that comes next. I should probably tell you, this isn't gonna, like, say when someone joins the server and it comes up here, you're still going to see that because that's not technically a chat message, so it's not going to ignore that. So if you don't want to see that, what you have to do is type /message lines space 0. And now it's not going to show you anything up here, so you won't have to see join messages or even chat messages. Basically anything you can see here, you will not see it up in this left hand corner like you normally do. So that's just a quick way to do it, but that's not actually in the server readme, so that's actually a useful command. The next one is server, gate. What this does is sets your gate preference based on I know when you're in like a race, a hosted race, it's based on who gets first played first. So usually that'll be off of like how you qualify in the heat or in time qualifying or whatever. But in an actual game, I'm guessing it works off of like results from the previous race. If it does, I don't really know. But anyways, how you actually do that is you server, gate space and then the gate number. Usually the gates go from left to right. So like this would be gate 1. This would be gate 2. This would get, anyways, from left to right, gate 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see up to gate 5 in my screen. But so like say you want to be in the gate I'm in right now, you type server, gate 2, and when the race restarts, it'll put you as close to gate 2 as it can. If someone else has picked gate 2 in a higher order than you, then it'll put you the closest you can be put to gate 2. The next command is server, list players, and it'll do this. It'll put a block of all the players in the server right now and information about them, and if you want to, you can include a space and then search a word or term. So like, for example, if I wanted to search like Bob, like say 0 found, no one in here with anything Bob. But if you search Sammy, see, it finds me. Or if you search any part of my name, like SA, that'll come up. Just anything, that'll work. So the next command is server, list tracks. Oops. What that does is list all the track instances that are currently on the server. If you do this on one of the public servers, it's going to have a lot more than this does. This is just a test server we have, but Yeah, you can't, if you're just a normal player, you can't set the track because you need to have Marshal for that, but you can view the tracks that are in there and see which one's going to be next and such. So, the command that comes after that is server comma play. And this puts you in play mode for the next race. Say you were in spectate mode, you can be put in play mode. However, if the server is locked, like during a race, this won't work. It'll give you, like, I'll show you server just real quick. It's gonna give me an error because I can't change it while it's locked. So normally during like hosted races, the server's gonna be locked, so you can't do that, and it's for a good reason, and so they can put certain people in certain races. And also, if you're in a race and it's not locked, don't do that because that's just gonna mess with people and it's gonna make everything worse. So don't do that if they forget to lock the server. Yeah, just be a good racer. The next command is server, spec, and it does the same thing as play except it takes you out of the race. So it's the same functionality, just the opposite. Server, restart. So if you're just a normal player, you can type server, restart, and it'll vote to restart the race. Like, yeah, you see 1 out of 10. Someone has requested to restart, 1 out of 10, 3 out of 10, whatever, however many people are in the server. But if you're a marshal or an admin, and when you click it, it'll just automatically restart it. It'll give like everybody. So that's how to restart. Server, if you want to withdraw your restart, you type server, no restart, and that'll just take away your vote. So if you don't want to restart anymore, you can do that. So that concludes the players commands that everybody can do, and now we're gonna move on to marshal and admin commands. So what this means is that marshals and above can use this command, any of these commands in the following section. If you're a server marshal, you probably know how to do these, but I'll go through them anyways. So the first one is server, force play. And what this does is forces somebody into play mode. So like, say I wanted to force myself into play mode, I do this, and it'll put me in play mode. Similarly, there's server, force spec, and it forces the client into spectator mode. So it took me out of the race. Sorry, I'm kind of sick. The next one that they can do is server, lock. And you saw me kind of do that earlier, but what it does makes it so people cannot change their mode. They can't change from spectator mode and play mode. It'll stop them from doing that so that you can force play everyone and stuff like that. Recently, it also will make it so that no matter how many votes to restart there are, it won't restart the server without an admin or marshal restarting it. So that's kind of useful for hosting races. And similarly, there's server, unlock. You saw me do that also. It just takes off the lock, obviously. Server, next track. Oops. We'll just rotate the server to the next track in the list so that when you restart it, it's going to go to a different track. And it'll go in order of how they are in the list tracks thing that you look at. But yeah, so similarly to that, there's something called server, next track. If my game is in a crash. Oh, there it goes. Server, next track. Server, set track. And what this does is it'll like skip to whichever track instance you give it, like space 0 or 1 or 2 or whatever number. So for example, as you see in the list checks, I have 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if I want to go to the FamMX fair race track, I do server comma set track, and it's tracking since 1, so I do that, and then I restart it. Loading now. So now we're back in, and so that's the set track command, and after that would be the ban command. So you can do server comma ban, and it'll ban the client. Like say I wanted to ban myself, it'd be this. That's my UID, and then space minutes. Personally wouldn't change the time, because if you're gonna ban somebody, I mean, that's considered permanent, because you can just kick them if you're just trying to get them out for a little bit. But yeah, like, don't ban somebody for a certain amount of time, because that's just gonna get confusing. And if you're gonna ban someone, make sure you ban them. It's much better to just kick them. But if you do want to ban people, you can see server comma list bans. It'll show the bans. Right now I have none on this server. But if there were bans, it would show you the UIDs that are banned. But yeah, like I said, server comma kick is better. But instead of using UID, you pick slot number. So like server comma list players, you can see the slot number. See, I'm slot 1. So to kick myself, I do server comma kick 1. And that'll kick slot 1, which is me, from the server. So if you're an admin or marshal, you can set everyone's ignore setting manually. Like we saw earlier, you could set your personal setting, but if you want everyone to be muted while they're in a race, like so they cannot see each other talk or the spectators talk, it's called server comma all ignore. And just similarly to the other one, you can do none, specs, or all. And it only affects people in racing, so if they're in spectate mode, it doesn't affect them. You can also mute people, so server comma mute. It makes them so they can't type at all at any time. Most people don't use this unless the person's being a nuisance. It's not something you would use to mute chat for people, because you could just all ignore them. But yeah, mute and then their UID. And yeah, if you're an admin or marshal, you can use the broadcast command, as we saw in the scripting tutorial. The broadcast command will just broadcast whatever you type. So if I say hello server, it'll broadcast that. You can also force the person's gate, so server comma force gate, their UID, and then the gate number, so like 2. And that will override anyone's gate preferences and put them in that gate no matter what. So I'll be on gate 2 no matter what, basically. You can also do server comma lock gate, and no one can pick their gates. Or you can do server comma unlock gate, and that'll let them pick their gate. Clear class, server comma clear class. If you had a bike class set up with the following command, it's for some reason after this, but clear class makes it so any bike can ride in the race. So like, I should just show you server comma homologate, whatever. This is how you set up a class. Like say you only want 250s to ride, or only 450s, or only 125s, whatever. You have to type it like this. And you type them in like this. So the very first one has to be an exact bike name. For example, KX250 2013, because that's what it's gonna force the people to if they don't have the specified class of bike. So like, if someone's riding a 450 and they don't change it before the race restart, it's going to force them to a KX250F 2013. So after that, you can just put like kx250f, but separated with this bar. kx250f, crf 250. Like, just keep going, and it'll homologate those. And to get rid of them, like I said, clear class. So that concludes the marshals and up portion. From now on, only server admins can use these commands. So the very first one that server admins can use is add track. So you can do server, add track. And what it does is exactly that. Adds a track of which you have the track info file somewhere in your server folder. It'll add that track into a track instance. So for example, if I want to add another instance of that FamMX race, the very first input after add track, you do space, and then it's the time. So like if you want a 30 plus 2 minute moto, or 30 minute plus 2 lap moto, you type 30 and that's gonna put it for 30 minutes. Space is the number of laps, so 2, so 30 plus 2. And then the change interval is how often it's gonna change. So like, say you have that on 30 and the race takes 30 plus minutes, then it's gonna change on the next restart. So if you never want it to change, what most people do is just put 9999999, and it'll just stay on that track instance forever until you manually change it. And the last thing you would put there is the track info file. But first you have to write track info and then / and then the track info name. So as you see up here, it's called 2014 FamMX Fair Race.trackInfo. So type exactly that, 2014 FamMX Fair Race.trackInfo. And you need to put the caps and everything exactly how it is or it won't work. So as you see, it added another version of the track. So if I list the tracks again, you see there's a fourth 30 plus 2 on that track. Similarly, you can remove that track. So server remove track, and all you have to do is type the track number. So like that, I just added track 4, remove track 4, and if I list tracks, it did not remove it. Yeah, for some reason that did not work. I don't know why, but it normally would work. This might just be something up with my server configuration. Yeah, it's for some reason not letting me remove that one. But when you take down your server and up, it'll just revert to whatever you have in your server args anyways, so that would go away. The next command is add marshal, and only admins can do this. Like I said, you type server, add marshal, and just like you'd expect, just their UID. For example, my UID. And it'll add that person as a marshal. It's simple. I'm not going to add myself as a marshal, I'm already admin, but similarly, you can remove the marshals. Server, remove marshal. And their UID, again, same. You can clear all the marshals with server, clear marshals, and it'll take away all the marshals on your server. And if you want to see who is a marshal on your server, you do server, list marshals. Marshal. Am I spelling marshal wrong? Yep. And you see all these people are marshals on this server. If you want to do a specific command at a certain time, you type the following: server, at space. The time is a Unix timestamp. If you just enter it like in a time, or you could do plus and then the number of seconds you want to pass. So like say in 10 seconds, server at plus 10 seconds, and then the command. So like broadcast, it has been 10 seconds. And in 10 seconds, you can see this is the Unix timestamp right here that we're seeing pop up. But see, after 10 seconds it broadcasted, it has been 10 seconds. So if you have something scheduled for like way in advance, like say we do at plus, I don't know, 400 seconds, and you don't want it to do that anymore, you can type server, clear schedule, and it won't have that command there anymore. And if you want to see the commands that you have scheduled, it's server, list schedule. But as you see, I have none scheduled right now. Now we're going to get into executing scripts. So in the script tutorial, we made a script, and it was called round10 heat1.mxs, and it was just like an example script of what a race script would look like. So to execute that, if you have a scripts folder, like I suggested you make, you would type this, server, exec, that's the execute script command. And it has to be an MX server script, like a .mxs, like this one just execute like a Python scripts or whatever. It has to be .mxs. And you type the script name, but if you put it in a scripts folder like I do, like in your MX server folder, you added a scripts folder and then put the script in there, you type scripts or whatever your folder name is, and then a front slash, and then the script name. So like ours was round10 heat1.mxs. And as you see, it pops up with this script that we made. And if you remember that, we had ignore the all ignore all, so it's gonna all ignore everybody. You had set track 0, and that's the 0 track instance. We had force spec all slots are out, and then we had the things to list like to the players, remember? Like we put the player name and then we force played the player, and then we broadcasted to them what heat or race they were in. And as you see, it says can't fly in slot for all these people, and that's because they aren't in the server right now. So if they were in the server, for example, it would just say like if I server force play, this is my UID, it would just say this, but for them. And then the third thing in this block was broadcast to, and it had like the race name, which is another admin command. And you do broadcast to their UID, and then whatever you want to say. So like, hey, you know, that only shows to me. If there were other people in the server, they would not see that. So the next thing you can do as an admin is set the max clients for your server. What max clients does is allows you to say how many people in total can be in the server. That includes racers and spectators. So like say I wanted 150 people to be allowed in, you do server, max clients, and then the number, like let's say I wanted 150. There's 150 slots in, and in my server I had specified 3 people who are allowed to be reserved clients. But if you just wanted reserve slots in general, you can put like 4, and now there's 4 reserve slots, and it'll set those 4 slots aside, and those are included, I believe, in the 150. So if you're not a reserve person, there's technically only 146 slots. And to actually set a person who's reserved, like to set who's considered to be taking up one of these reserve slots, you can use server comma reserve and then their UID. Or if you want to reserve the UIDs of everybody that's currently connected, you just type all. Everybody in there will be reserved, but as you see, I'm already reserved. Similarly, you can unreserve people the same way. Just type unreserve, and then it has the same parameters, one UID or all people. Server rate, I wouldn't really mess with that, leave it default. And then you can shut it down, so server comma shutdown would turn off the server. So yeah, that's actually all the server commands you can do for now. If any more get added, I'll try to update this maybe in the description, or if enough get added, I'll make another video. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching this one, and look out for some more tutorials coming soon. Thanks.